is the plural of Lekgotla. So we're not only keeping up with developments in artificial intelligence, but improving our Setswana along the way. So this series forms part of the digital transformation activities of ASSAf's scholarly publishing program, and it aims to create a space for informed discussion and debate on rapidly evolving areas of AI, while helping the scholarly community understand both the opportunities and the challenges that these technologies present. And today's topic could hardly be more important. I see we have over 114 people online for this very important discussion. The mental health crisis in South African higher education. Is Gen AI a help or a hindrance? And make no doubt, this is a difficult topic. On the one hand, there's the well-founded reluctance to outsource counseling and psychological support to artificial intelligence. Mental health care depends profoundly on trust, on empathy, on professional judgment, and of course on human connection. But on the other hand, the need is enormous. University support services are under-resourced, crises do not confine themselves to office hours, and there are simply too few qualified professionals and too few facilities to meet the growing demand. And for many students, stigma, cost, distance, or fear may also prevent them from seeking help. Gen AI therefore presents us with both promise and risk. It could help extend access, offer support after hours, identify concerns earlier, and lower some of the barriers to seeking assistance. But it also raises serious questions about accuracy, about privacy, about accountability, cultural appropriateness, and the danger of students relying on technology when prevention human care is really what's needed. So the central question that we're going to tackle today is not simply whether we should use AI, but how we can ensure that it complements rather than replaces human-centered care. We also need to ask what evidence should be required before these tools are introduced, how students' data will be protected, and where responsibility lies when an AI-enabled system gets something wrong. And we're fortunate to have an excellent group of speakers who bring both research expertise and practical experience to this discussion. And my sincere thanks go to Dr. Christo Davids, Dr. Dalray Gradidge, Dr. Hanlé Kirkcaldy, and Naythan Kayser for giving their time and sharing their insights with us today. But before handing over a few practical matters, please keep your microphone muted during the webinar and use the chat function to participate and submit questions. The session is being recorded, and the recording link will be shared with participants afterwards. So it's now my great pleasure to introduce our facilitator, Dr. Edmund Terem Ugar from the University of Johannesburg and Northwest University. Edmund is a researcher and policy analyst with a PhD in philosophy from the University of Johannesburg. His work focuses on the ethics, policy, and governance of AI and other digital technologies in healthcare, higher education, and the workplace, with a particular interest in African contexts. His current research examines how digital systems affect human flourishing, mental well-being, and interpersonal relationships. He's therefore particularly well-placed to guide today's conversation. Edmund, thank you for joining us, and I'm delighted to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Lynn, for this warm introduction. And I just want to ask if you can hear me, and Louise, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just to continue from where Lynn has ended, I want us to imagine for a second, before we get into the panel discussion, let us imagine a first-generation student arriving at a university from an under-resourced rural school. She's academically capable, but she's under pressure to succeed for herself and for her family. Some days she's worried about food, accommodation, and transport. And other days, she's anxious about whether using AI to improve her writing will be regarded as a misconduct, an aspect which is currently important, yet she has not received sufficient training for. At the same time, she is preparing for a labor market in which she is unsure whether the qualification she is pursuing would lead to a sustainable employment. Now, this is not simply an individual student's problem. It reflects the material, academic, and psychological pressures experienced by many students in South African higher education today. AI has added a layer to this pressure. Students are asking what their future would look like in an increasingly algorithmic economy. And in some instances and contexts, AI, especially generative AI, is now providing solution that is addressing the psychological tensions and challenges within the student community. Some universities are using AI to expand access to guidance, career support, and mental resources. The important question is therefore not whether AI is good or bad for students. The question is whether our institutions are creating the conditions in which technology supports students' flourishing rather than intensify fear, surveillance, and exclusion. This AI Lekgotla invites us to move from diagnosing whether psychological, material, and academic pressure results in mental stress in our higher education to providing pragmatic responses that benefit the flourishing and well-being of our students. As a result, we are guided by this with the following questions. What forms of psychological, academic, and career support do our students need in the current technological milieu? How can we ensure that digital interventions complement rather than replace human care? What inclusive measures are being implemented, especially in under-resourced institutions of higher education in South Africa, to ensure that students in this environment are cared for? Now, these questions are directly linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the SDG 3, which concerns health and well-being, knowing that mental health is also an aspect of healthcare, and also the Sustainable Development 4, which concerns quality education. Here, we conceive quality education not only to mean the transmission of information or knowledge, but it also requires providing an enabling condition in which students can feel supported, respected, and can enable them to thrive. And so our panelists today will explore this question through their research and experiences from their respective institutions. And our aim here is to identify practical and ethical ways, some of which are already in place to respond to these challenges that we pose. And so the first speaker that we'll have today is Dr. Charles Davids. Dr. Davids will provide us an overview of the mental health landscape in South African higher education. And just a brief background about Dr. Davids. Dr. Davids is a registered counseling psychologist and the director for the Center for Student Counseling and Development at Stellenbosch University. With over 20 years of experience, his research and his work focuses on student mental health, community psychology, and digital mental health intervention. And so I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Davids now to lead us through an overview of this conversation.
Thank you. Let me just share. There we go. So, thanks, Edmund, for the introduction, and thanks for the invitation. And I think my task is basically to provide a brief evidence-based overview of the student mental health landscape in South African higher education. But before we hear about the other three speakers that speak specifically to using generative AI tools as complementary services within the sector. But I want to start off to say that my central argument is simple, and that the crisis is not only about individual pathology. It is also about unequal conditions, barriers to care, and service model that cannot meet the demand through one-on-one therapy alone. And I think AI may help expand the front door to support, but only if it strengthens rather than substitutes the human care. So, I was involved when we did a national survey across quite a bit of the institutions in the country, and in this national survey, it gave us a shared evidence-based rather than isolated campus anecdotes, because about 1 in 5 students met diagnostic criteria for at least one common mental disorder. And nearly 1 in 4 reported suicidal ideation during the previous when they filled in the questionnaire previous 30 days. But yet only about 1 in 5 students with a mental health problem receive treatment within our system, as reported by the students. Now, these figures should not be conflated. I think they measure different outcomes. But taken together, however, they show a large burden of distress and risk alongside a substantial treatment gap. And the implication is that universities need to support, need a layered public mental health response, starting with prevention, early identification, the low intensity support, clinical care, crisis response, and attention to the environments in which students study and in which they live. And I think the student mental health is not distributed evenly. It cannot be understood only as an individual clinical problem as well. And I think students bring different histories and vulnerabilities into universities. But their well-being is also shaped by academic pressure, the financial strain, the housing and food insecurity, discrimination, violence, isolation, and whether they experience the institution as a place of belonging. Now, the national survey found differences across institution types and marginalized groups as well. And now that matters because a generic intervention may widen inequality if it assumes equal access to devices, data, language, privacy, disability support, or culturally responsive care. So the question is not merely how do we make students more resilient, it is also what must institutions change so that students can thrive. And therefore, in the survey, we've also found that only 21.3% of the students with a mental health problem receive treatment, irrespective of whether there was a perceived need. And even among those who recognize that they needed help, only 35.2% received the treatment. So students face practical and psychological barriers like stigma, cost, inconvenience, mistrust, low perceived need, and long waiting times that we experience within our institution counseling centers. And increasing professional capacity remains essential, but capacity alone will not resolve a pathway designed around a single door, where there's an appointment with a specialist. So therefore, I think in the recommendations within the survey, we suggest a step care model that creates several entry points. And it links universal prevention and mental health literacy to peer support, guided self-help, focused interventions, professional counseling, and urgent care or crisis care, as we would call it. The quality test is not how many digital tools we offer. It is whether students reach the right level of support safely and much sooner. And therefore, this is, I think, where AI may add value if we specify the function rather than treating AI as a single intervention. And because at the lower intensity end, a chatbot, for example, can help students navigate services, provide psychoeducation, or practice structured scoping skills. It can support check-ins and continuity between human contacts. It may also help students who would otherwise never approach a counseling center, for example, because of stigma or cultural beliefs. But the final function, where the escalation, this is a non-negotiable, I think. A system used in a mental health context must know the limits of its role, detect when a conversation requires human judgment, and connect the student to appropriate care. It must never imply that a general purpose chatbot is a therapist, emergency service, or diagnostic authority. So South African students are not rejecting digital mental health support at all. And because we also tested this in the survey, 90% believe digital technologies could make counseling more accessible. About a third said that they were likely to use a mental health chatbot. At the same time, 84.7% were concerned about data security, privacy, and 90.5% believe that digital mental health services should be controlled by legislation and regulation. Now, that combination is important because openness is not blind trust. And students are asking whether tools are safe, useful, credible, approved, and connected to real services. Adoption should therefore not be the primary success measure. We should measure whether the tool reaches undeserved students, underserved students, improves timely access, produces safe referrals, and respects consent and leads to better outcomes. And therefore, the question, is it a help or a hindrance? I think it helps when the purpose for any AI tools that we're using is clear. The content is evidence-based. The privacy issues around privacy are meaningful, and if the design and things are inclusive, and if there's human oversight. I think there's a hindrance when it presents itself as the therapist itself, and how we use the data that we receive from that. And then also that crisis responses could be unsafe depending on which tools and things we use. And therefore, I think that it's the importance that governance comes before we implement any kind of technology, and that we have to be clear what that governance the governance is that we put in place for that. So therefore, the question then is, can AI expand access without outsourcing care? And that, I think, is the real question. And therefore, I will close with one question for the institutional examples to follow. Can AI expand access without outsourcing the care? And because the evidence tells us that the need is substantial, the risk is unequally distributed, and existing services reach too few students. Digital tools can create additional entry points, and students show meaningful interest in using them. But students also expect privacy, regulation, professional endorsement, and the safety. So as we listen to the speakers to follow, I suggest 4 lenses. The one is evidence, equity, accountability, but also escalation. And what problem is, for example, the chatbot solving within our current context, and who can access and benefit? Who is accountable when it fails? And how does it connect the student to human support? Thanks, Edmund. That would be my input for now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Davids, for this interesting presentation. And without wasting, we'll just move now to the second speaker, who would take us through from what Dr. Davids has said and then lead us through her presentation in the next 10 minutes. So our next speaker will be Dr. Dalray Gradidge, who is a research psychologist at Nelson Mandela University. He specializes in student mental health, research ethics, and higher education. Her current research explores the responsible integration of generative artificial intelligence into university mental health services, with a focus on ethical, accessible, and student-centered solutions. Over to you, Dr. Dalray. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
It's good. It's in slideshow mode?
No.
Not yet?
Yeah, can you just...
Here we go. Right.
Yes.
Today, I'd like to share some reflections from our experience at Nelson Mandela University, developing and testing a generative AI chatbot to support student mental health. It's very much still at an exploratory stage. We decided not to ask, can AI replace the psychologist? That's, we believe, not the most useful question. The question we wanted to explore is whether AI can help a student who currently receives no meaningful mental health support move closer to safe and appropriate human care. Our starting point was not to build an autonomous AI therapist or a synthetic psychologist. We're thinking about the chatbot much more narrowly as part of the university's existing mental health support ecosystem. It's to create a digital front door into human-centered care. It can act as a service navigator, helping students understand where to go. It can provide psychoeducation. It can offer guided self-management strategies. And importantly, we wanted it to act as a referral bridge into human services, particularly after hours, because our offices are only open until 8 or 4:30 on weekdays. We realized that ethical obligations change depending on what we ask the system to do. So for us, it was very important to predefine what we were looking for. We conducted an operational evaluation on the first iteration of the chatbot with 17 members of our team, which included psychologists, interns, peer helpers, social worker, care workers. And what we discovered was that the difficult part isn't simply making a chatbot sound supportive and empathic. The difficult part is designing what happens when the conversation becomes psychologically significant. We tested the chatbot across emotional distress, suicidal intent, routine service questions, and unexpected inputs, and something became very clear. The chatbot could recognize distress, it could recognize suicidal language, it could classify it as high risk, but recognition is not the same thing as response. Our counselors found that when suicidal language appeared, the chatbot moved quite quickly to referral. I don't have time to go into more detail, but in summary, it didn't adequately explore immediacy or severity, plans or means, immediate safety, or whether there was somebody nearby who could help. And it often didn't provide enough emotional containment before moving to referral. The example that really brought this home for me was something that should be simple. The chatbot was designed primarily as an after-hours resource, and counselors posing as students told it that the counseling office was closed at the time of the conversation, yet the chatbot continued directing them to the office numbers. Having the chatbot making a referral is not necessarily a crisis pathway. A student in crisis doesn't just need a phone number, they need a pathway that actually works at the moment they need it. So we realized that there's quite a lot of work that needs to go into developing and training a chatbot to get it to do what it is that we want it to. This experience is changing the way that I think about the phrase AI safety and the ethical dilemmas surrounding it. A disclaimer that one might put into a chatbot at first use might say, or at ongoing use might say, I'm an AI, I can't provide emergency mental health support, please contact a professional, here's some after hours numbers. But a generic disclaimer is not a crisis pathway. What happens after the chatbot makes a referral? What happens when the 24-hour crisis lines are all busy and the student can't get through? What happens if the student says, I don't want to call anyone, and I have a gun and I'm ready to do it right now? Our focus group recommended predefined escalation protocols, campus-specific emergency contacts, and clear arrangements for transferring high-risk situations to appropriate human support. And this leads to a difficult question that we are now grappling with. Mental health information is highly sensitive, as we all know. And if we think about this in the worst case type of scenario, where a student has just disclosed to the chatbot that they plan to harm themselves or someone else, if we build a system that can recognize serious risk and connect a student to human support, we also have to decide whether and under what situations or circumstances identifying information is necessary to make that intervention possible. I don't think the answer is simply that privacy wins, and I don't think its duty of care means we collect everything. The more important question is, What information is necessary? When can it be accessed? Who can access it? And what exactly triggers escalation? Who does that information go to? And crucially, students need to know the limits of privacy before they disclose highly sensitive information. If the system is not anonymous, we shouldn't imply that it is. If confidentiality has limits, those limits need to be transparent. Because we face a genuine paradox. A system designed to intervene may undermine the trust that makes students willing to use it in the first place. So privacy isn't something we should be bolting onto the chatbot after development. It's something that has to be part of the architecture itself. Another thing that I think is often overlooked is that chatting to an AI is fundamentally different to chatting to a chatbot. Sorry, if I'm talking to another person. Human relationships are reciprocal. Both people have thoughts, emotions, needs, vulnerabilities. The relationship changes both participants. A chatbot is different. It can sound empathic, it can validate feelings, it can remember parts of the conversation, but it doesn't have an emotional life, no personal history, no independent desires, it doesn't get tired. Nothing is at stake for the chatbot. And that matters because students may experience the interaction as emotionally meaningful, even though the relationship itself is not reciprocal. So one question we should be asking is not whether AI can support mental health, but also whether heavy reliance on conversational AI might gradually reduce opportunities or even confidence in navigating the messiness of real human relationships. That's another reason why I believe that AI should be designed as a bridge into human care and not as a destination itself. Which leads me to the one final paradox. We often hear that AI could reduce pressure on scarce mental health professionals such as ourselves at our university. But what if a useful chatbot does the opposite? What if it helps students recognize distress they previously couldn't name? What if it reduces the barriers to seeking help? What if it successfully encourages more students to access counseling? These are all things that we want. But this doesn't reduce demand for human care. It will likely increase it. So this is a challenge for universities such as ourselves, where demand already exceeds capacity, where waiting lists are long, where counseling often has to be delivered with brief intervention models. If the chatbot succeeds in bringing more students to our doors, are we ready to receive them? At the same time, I don't see that as an argument against AI. Even if students have to wait for an appointment, there's still immense value in ensuring that they are not alone during the hours when our offices are closed. A well-designed chatbot can provide immediate support, help students make sense of what they're experiencing, and connect them to appropriate 24-hour crisis resources while they wait to access human care during our office hours. So perhaps we should judge success differently. Not by how the chatbot sounds or how human the conversation is, but the more important question is whether it moves students who currently are lacking that meaningful support closer to safe and appropriate human care, and whether the human system behind the chatbot is capable of receiving them. And for me, that's the real promise of AI in student mental health, not replacing the psychologist, but building a safer bridge to one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dalray, for this wonderful presentation. And now we will move to the third speaker, Dr. Hanlé. Dr. Hanlé is the head of Student Counseling Unit at the University of Pretoria and a registered clinical psychologist with more than 30 years of professional experience. Her work focuses on student mental health, professional ethics, mood anxiety disorders, and post-traumatic growth. And so in the next 10 minutes, Dr. Hanlé is going to lead us through her presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Hanlé. Over to you.
Thank you, Edmund, and welcome to everybody. Thank you for the invitation. When we had the pre-meeting, we said that my role would be to tell you about the journey we followed at UP, about our flirting, shall we call it, with the AI companions and how it all started for us and where we are now. So I'm just telling a story. I'm not doing a presentation as we agreed. And I think that it started with us really during COVID. We started very early with our journey with a experiment. We are known as the Student Counseling Unit, so that is SCOO. So we called our little helper SCOO-B. And that was just, a little brand that we wanted to help students to access our information, our, how to get to services, how to get to information while they were definitely not on campus. So it reflected a broader trend at that point, I think, which was that institutions did turn to digital tools to expand reach, to manage after-hours needs, as Dalray said, and to support students at that point that were geographically distant from campus. And of course, AI systems does help us to scale and to help us with equitable mental health education and support. And after that, we realized that the field is absolutely expanding by leaps and bounds. So we were really the victim of our own eagerness. And when large language models started off, and the open AI revolution came, we realized we will definitely need a different sort of product. And we explored off-the-shelf products. We explored developing our own mental health chatbot, a conversational agent, all sorts of options. And of course, developing it locally became almost prohibitively costly. So we had to look at international products, and we did a pilot, and I think Naythan will discuss a little bit the product that we used as a pilot. And it worked very well. However, at the same time, a lot of things happened in the mental health space with our students, and we again had to pivot. And I think that is what was so exciting to me about the journey of the last 4 years, is that every time you think, okay, this is the way we're going to go, something else happens. And with our students, I think that, the fact that students have, there's such a lot of demand for culturally sensitive products, for products that has, and where students understand what they are looking at, for what the role of the AI would be. So we did explore alternative approaches, and at the moment we are still using AI in administrative use, seeking services, automating sign up to our various systems, helping us with client bookings. But that is not really the discussion point today. I think the discussion point really has to do with the ethics that Dalray also mentioned. As everybody in the room probably knows, we have two roles. You are either a psychologist, or you are, in a sense, the manager of a mental health framework for students at universities. And as such, you have the role to look at all the benefits, but also possibly the risks and limitations when tech develops so fast. And, it really is true that technology develops faster than our ability sometimes to use it completely and safely. So I think what happened with us then is that we are exploring how we can have a framework that actually is ready, as Dalray mentioned, to receive all the clients that we have already, plus also the clients that is directed to us by any conversational agent or an AI adjunct or a chatbot. And we started to overhaul our whole system. So we made sure that in the last year or so, we can provide services where there is universal self-management, basic needs. So there are digital and self-guided interventions, but there is also, with us, it was important that we address material stresses, like food insecurity and emergency financial aid and the navigation of that. And we are working very hard to have a general campus-wide mental health literacy, where wellness and resilience is being built into a very wide way of how we approach our mental health framework on campus. And that has to do with the step care that Charles also spoke to. So we looked at what the evidence says in literature, and the stepped care approach seems to be the way that we can responsibly navigate the ethics of care. The other is that we have introduced low intensity support groups, a targeted intervention, and that also includes peer networks, because our students did say that peers are an important way for them to lower the barrier for access that destigmatizes the barriers to care. And then our focused clinical interventions, that mild to moderate conditions, single session or brief therapy, and then the high intensity or case management care that comes after that. So I think what I'm trying to say is that at the moment we see AI very much as a alternative, but in a sense that the alternative has to do with the lower level of care. It does not replace, of course, but it does play an important role in the lower level of care, the digital mental health literacy. I think to answer the initial question surrounding this webinar, whether the generative AI can help to expand access to mental health care and provide early intervention and alerts and reduce help-seeking barriers, and if it introduces new ethical, psychological, and social risks, the answer to both those questions are yes. What we have found is that our students probably need a very specific, plain language summary, if you will, of AI data practices, because people, as you saw in Charles' presentation, was concerned about data safety, and the single sign-on helps for that, but there is still background data being used. The other is that it's interesting to me that when we want to do a new therapy on clients, or we want to introduce new interventions, we have to go for an ethics review, isn't it? We have to go through the whole ethics process. And actually, we're busy with a very big social experiment here, using AI or these sort of bots or conversational agents with our students. So I think that the university at the time when we were ready to implement was also not ready to do all of that periodic audits after the deployment. I think a university should have, for instance, an AI ethics officer or committee to oversee implementation of these conversational agents. And concerns are about reliability and cultural responsiveness, of course. I think that we all know that the detection tools and analysis that these bots use should be regularly checked for bias, and also look at language and other literacies. And for that, we can use student focus groups, but I think that these processes are not always in place when we use these tools already. I think a very interesting conversation that I had is with someone about social media, and how social media actually, as we all know, creates this echo chamber, creates a sort of awareness of symptoms and awareness of all the various problems that can exist, and how often we then in a sense, pathologize normal student reactions. And
Dr. Hanlé,
yes.
just you have like 30 seconds to just summarize.
Perfect. I am summarizing. Thank you.
Uh,
So I think also that we have to make sure that what we use the bot for is definitely what we are intending it to do, and that is the initial issues around early detection, early intervention, and reducing the help-seeking barriers. So that is the end of my story and the end of the story for us here. We are still investigating various options, but it is part of our bigger framework where we help on many levels. Thank you.
all right, thank you so much, Dr. Hanlé, for this presentation and for leading us through what you guys are doing at UP. So the last speaker would be Mr. Naythan Kayser, who is a registered counselor and a coordinator in the Center for Student Support Service at the University of the Western Cape. He leads the institutional implementation of WISER, WISER AI mental health chatbot, and co-leads its research and evaluation program. His research focuses on AI-enabled mental health intervention in higher education, with an emphasis on ethical, evidence-informed, and culturally responsive and accessible approaches. So I now hand this over to Mr. Naythan, who is going to lead us through his presentation.
Thank you so much, Edmund, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm just checking if you can actually see my screen.
Yes.
It is in presenter mode, is it?
No, it's not.
Not yet?
Yes, now it is.
It is now. Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say that I am going to present some of the findings and the work as part of a research team. Professor Matete Madiba, as well as Dr. Faiza Khan, couldn't make it, is part of this team, and I'm merely the soldier that was sent out, to the field to do the work. But I'm going to speak about the University of Western Cape's case study, basically, around adopting the uptake and the usage of an artificial intelligence-based mental health intervention at our university. Now, I think what I really don't have to do is what Charles did, as well as Dalray's, it was beautifully sketched out, is what the mental health crisis looks like, and also the demand on the system. I think what I want to identify is the gap that we sit within the system, and the huge gap around limitation of infinite human capacity, counselors, and the ratio of counselors to students that are in distress and students that need mental health care. That, I think, is a very important thing that we need to note, and how technology and digital innovation comes in within the field of mental health support within higher education. Now, at UWC, I don't think we asked the question, how do we use AI to replace the counselor? I think we asked the question, how do we extend our existing ecosystem of care so that students can access some form or some sort of support when and where they actually need the support. Now, I think this is when I'm really going to speak to you about WISER and our case study. So in September 2023, we introduced WISER, which is a 24/7 AI-enabled mental health supporting tool. WISER provides students with immediate access to a conversational support, and at the same time, also it's evidence-informed tools that speaks to anxiety, stress, sleep, emotional regulation, mindfulness, and any other everyday mental health concerns usually that students present with, adjustment even, and how to have difficult conversations. Currently, we are looking at approximately 6,800 users that have adopted, and this would include some of our staff members as well, very low amount of staff members, higher amount of students that have adopted the AI mental health tool. But also, I think what is very important about the implementation that I want to emphasize is that we did not implement the technology and then simply assume that is going to work. Almost from the outset, we placed research and evaluation alongside the implementation. We knew that students are accessing AI models, large language models at that time, to actually seek help, mental health support. And so we wanted to make sure that what we are initiating and what we've adopted is assisting and helping within the need and demand. So this journey has included platform and analytics, dashboard analytics that we get monthly and we also have access to, implementation case studies, a quantitative survey of 3 to 5 students, qualitative interviews, practitioner reflections, and most recently we also had a multi-stakeholder consensus workshop. So our research is institutionally ethically approved and is helping us understand not only whether students use it, but why they use it, how they experience it, what limits are there to engagement, and ultimately what needs to change in the platform, and also when do we actually need to use a different platform than what we are currently using. I think it's important to also note that we went through a process of seeking which platform to use, and why we adopted Wiser was because it's CBT informed, practitioner informed, so not using large language models, but using practitioner informed programming and development, and then also the rating of it on the Google Play Store as well. So what I really want to now highlight, and I hope I can do that through some of the findings, is that one of the most interesting findings that I think that really came out for us and struck for us is that mental health does not keep office hours. I think the previous speakers also spoke to this. So it became very evident in our surveys that we did that when we looked at emotional patterns across the day, anxiety was particularly prominent in approximately after 4 p.m. to midnight. That's where our students are studying, you know. We also saw that the increase in stress, sadness, and hopefulness and tiredness during these periods when conventional university students' services are often less accessible. So in this way, we started thinking, how do we access and actually make sure that there's care and support to students when they need it? And this is where I think we need to understand the appropriate role of technology and where technology comes in. One of the students even described experiencing pre-exam anxiety and struggling to sleep at around 2 in the morning. Then Wiser guided the student through a breathing exercise and a sleep support tool that it is embedded within the platform. So at 2 in the morning, I think we can realistically say that we can't put a counselor next to a student at 2 in the morning. But we can provide responsible digital layer. And this is a layer within the support care system, not the answer. That helps the student through the immediate moment and connects them to human care when it is required then. So for me, that is one of the strongest arguments, I think, when we speak about technology and adopting AI within our ecosystems of care. The next point that I think I want to really speak about is how uptake numbers alone do not tell us whether an intervention is meaningful or not. Our students consistently spoke about accessibility, the convenience, and the privacy. So the experience of being able to engage without feeling judged and being able to access support through a device already in their hands. One of our director of for Student Support Services, calls it the penguin in your pocket, because the actual mascot of Wiser is a penguin. But more important, we started seeing something beyond simple technology adoption. Students describe Wiser helping them recognize, understand, and name what they are feeling. And this, I think, is important, but yeah, is when one participant even explained that previously they could not differentiate their emotions, they didn't have the language, but using Wiser helped them understand what they were experiencing in the moment. And this is the mental health literacy bit that AI mental health chatbots or platforms can help us with. Sometimes it's overlooked, the mental health literacy and what these technologies can do then. For some students, Wise may be first place where they begin developing language to actually understand their mental health. It can also support students when they're already in counseling. In fact, some students in our research came across Wiser and said that their therapist actually referred them to Wiser. And so they did some exercises, or they were beginning to see the continuum of a self-awareness, self-management, digital support, and how they could then access that. So the adoption does not automatically mean meaningful engagement. So we have to test it. We have to see how adoption is used. So is it really making a difference? And what is the emerging evidence saying at the moment? So I think what we can do with these kind of technologies is really measure how students are changing, and if there is changing behavior, and if there's any impact at all. So one of the things students do on this platform is the JD7 as well as the PHQ9 at them. So what we did then is we did a tracking throughout for 28 days. And we could see that it reduced from approximately 9.5 for the JD7 to 6.3. And we also saw how they accessed the platform over the 28 days. The scores reduced even in the PHQ9 from approximately 12.5 to 8.2. Now, this represents approximately 32% reduction in anxiety scores and 35% reduction in depression scores as well. As it is promising the findings, but it's also we should highlight this as alongside several other layers of support as well, and not just primarily the AI mental tool. So this also tells us the potential value in layering support system. It's looking at added support, what we can measure and how we measure it at the moment. So what does the next frontier look like? What should we do moving from here? So where do we go from here? For me, the next phase is not simply about getting more students onto a platform. I don't think our research is even saying that, or us adopting it is saying that. It is about making the technology more responsive to the students who's using it. Our research really identified clear limitations. Students ask for greater language and diversity. They want interactions that understand the cultural and contextual realities, and they want greater accessibility and personalization. There are qualitative interviews. This came through a lot, the personalization. And some simply wanted interaction to feel less robotic and more human. So I can actually confirm that when we initially last year presented some of these findings to ISA, that is already changed from an LLM model to generative AI model, which becomes more interactive, tailored, and more humanly responsive. So one of the interesting developments as well of the findings in our JSA, I'm running out of time, Edgar. I'm last slide.
Yes.
Last slide. And the interesting developments is that Wiser Voice has now been activated in an enhancement in the platform as well. But also because we reported back to Wiser and saying accessibility, looking at students with disabilities, looking at how students access the platform, not just typing it. So Wiser for Voice has also now been introduced where students can actually record into it and they get advice from them. So I think I've really concluded everything I wanted to say, and then there's lots more about the research I can say, but we need to look at what culturally responsible AI mental health support actually looks like in the South African context. It's quite complex, it's quite layered. We are a diverse university setting, and so we can't just adopt. We need to take research alongside that. And we're forever evolving, forever researching, forever looking and measuring at, are we using the right tool? Is it the right time to use this tool? And how can we actually support our students within the mental crisis? So thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Naythan. And thank you so much for the panelists for providing us this expert information and expert knowledge in terms of the application of AI and other social technologies in the mental health landscape to assist with some of the initial care that our students, the challenges that our students face. So in the next 14 minutes, I would want us to engage just the panelists. I just want us to engage and engage our thoughts before we open it up to the audience that have come to listen to us. And from Dr. Davids down to Mr. Naythan, you've given varying views. Dr. Davids, you give us this ecosystem of what the mental health or the mental care looks like across university, and you narrow it down into a kind of social justice issue. And Dr. Dalray, you also spoke about your experiences at Nelson Mandela and how the university came to the conclusion that it shouldn't deploy this technology to advance care, and Dr. Hanlé, you also shared the experiences at UP, but you're telling us the story. And there's something interesting that you said that I think it also ties down to what Mr. Naythan has said, where you mentioned that at the moment, it feels like the demand for AI, at least from your UP experience, is tied towards some kind of cultural sensitive and cultural relevant AI that students are demanding for. And also, Mr. Naythan, you also mentioned that in terms of WISER, WISER is helping students, or students have reported that WISER is helping them to recognize, understand, and also name what they're going through. So I want to ask, does WISER understand these cultural cues? And in terms of the UP space, given that Dr. Hanlé, you had started the presentation by saying that sourcing tools locally was also wasn't cost effective. So you needed to then to look elsewhere. How does these technologies that we get from elsewhere, do they understand, how are they culturally appropriate, and do they understand cultural cues? And if my situation requires some kind of cultural cues, can this technology like WISER help me in naming and understanding it? So I just want us to engage on that in the next 10 minutes.
I don't know if I can maybe
Yes.
respond to that, Edmund, because I think this is quite a question we get quite a lot, is how does the technology actually adopt and move alongside the cultural relevance and the contextual understanding of the students that they serve? So the easy question and the easy answer can be absolutely not, not at the moment. The product is an international product that has contextual layers to it. So does it understand language? So I remember culture within South Africa is not just ethnicity and race. It is language, it is religion, it is practices, it is norms. So it really encompasses a lot. I think for me, and the challenge we have with the platform now and how we're challenging it through the research is it understanding the language and the current language of how language changes. It's also understanding that there is no language at times for mental health expressions within various other languages. Students reported this within the research that when expressing themselves in a tool, they don't know in their mother tongue what to say when they are feeling distressed or depressed or have anxiety. So it's asking, do we have the data sets? And this is the question we're moving towards now. Do we have the data sets and develop data sets to feed the AI models and to feed LLMs or generative AI models to develop culturally and language relevant, language reversed platforms? I think that is where we sometimes are stuck. Now, when we talk about cultural nuance and what is happening in pop culture or modern culture, yes, these the models, especially WISE, also speaks to that. They know what's happening. So what we do is we feed the actual tool. We feed the tool with what's happening on campus, and through the developers, we feed what's happening on campus. When it's exams, when is the protests, what is happening currently, and that gets fed into the tool, and we get a word cloud even back monthly to say, a student is speaking about protesting or anxiousness about the results or anxiousness about this, etc., etc. So I think I answered you with multiple lenses, but it's important for us to realize that AI and generative AI needs to be fed with the actual data sets. And if so in South African context we have the data sets, I'm not entirely sure yet.
Thank you so much, Naythan. And maybe just the other panelists, if you want to jump in, and I just want to add another layer to this conversation, because I see that the recurrent concept that has been in this conversation has been care. So care has been recurrent, and I think Hanlé, you did mention that AI can contribute towards these lower levels of care. But what does care really mean? What does it mean to care? And does an AI, a generative AI, understand what it means to care? And how does it then advance that care? And anyone can jump in here.
Maybe if before my other colleagues, I'm sure they have opinions on this. And the answer is, of course, not, and that is the issue here, is that if you feel something, doesn't mean it is like that. What we also find in the literature now is that, AI will help with the immediate practice of a skill, but it is the sustained practice that really changes the skill. There's a big attrition, there's a drop-off in use of AI agents in this way. And it doesn't really, we don't have longitudinal studies yet to say that there's a consistent and prolonged change with the interaction only. So I think what we're all saying is that it is an integrative system. If it helps to let someone sleep 2 o'clock in the morning, as Naythan has said, if it guides someone, opens a door to the crisis care line, then by all means. But we must be very assured that the replacement or the way we pitch it is the important thing. And as I said before, the psychologist stays responsible for the tools that they use. So we must think very carefully about where we pitch, and if this is something that can do things. We think it does one thing, but the student might think it is doing something else. And therefore that digital literacy, the importance of explaining to students the ethical framework, the transparency of what an agent like this can do, is perhaps where we are still lacking, and we need to bring those things up to par.
Maybe I could jump in as well in complete agreement with the previous speaker. I think that culture and language and the kinds of trigger words that we're accustomed to could differ, between languages even. One goal that we have for our chatbot, which is still presently under development, is that we want a student to be able to speak to it in their home language. But we're also very concerned about, false identification of suicidality or, other, things like that. How do we make sure that the AI is picking up what it should be? How do we also allow for cultural nuances and avoid westernizing ideas in pathologizing something that a student might say? These are big concerns. You also asked, can the AI care? And I think Dr. Kirkcaldy really put it well, that we need to really work hard at embracing psychoeducational initiatives in making sure that the digital literacy and expectation is realistically set in terms of at the user level. But the AI cares as far as we set parameters for it to care. So it comes back to me to the point of, what is our duty of care? I'm hearing Naythan saying that WISER promises absolute privacy. And I want that for our students as well. But I'm still grappling with the fact that students are committing suicide at our universities. And what is our duty of care? If one of our students says, I'm about to jump off this building and I just wanted to say goodbye to somebody, how do we feel about that? What is our duty, our ethical responsibility? I'm so uncomfortable with making it completely 100% private. So my halfway is going to a disclaimer at login, just like if they walked into a counseling office to say, you can share what you want with me, but understand that we will have to break confidentiality in these situations. But it's a difficult thing. It's fraught with issues, because if they don't feel that it's a private conversation, are they even going to share? Or is that person on the ledge even going to reach out then? I don't have an answer for that yet.
Yeah, Edmund, can I also come in? Yeah, I think sometimes that we almost look at more the sophistication of what AI can be, and almost I think initially the thought was from everybody actually outside of the working directly in the mental health field was about AI, could it replace a therapist? And for us, it was never any kind of replacement. And it can be as basic as if a student send an email for help that they get an automated response, because then they feel a sense of care and belonging immediately within the institution. Because a lot of times I'm sending an email and I'm waiting a few days even for a response to that. And that's where I think the initial things are. But I'm also, remember about when we did the survey around AI tools within the industry. It was at the time we found that there was a lot of it that we found that was not developed by people working within the mental health field. And it's only, I think, in the last 2 years that psychologists and mental health workers has been entering the field to assist with the research on the kind of thing. So I think the tools will become probably slightly better in terms of how. But I don't think it will ever replace it. And I think Dalray mentions an important thing around, for example, if a student says, and therefore, for example, at Stellenbosch University, alongside the self-help tools that we have, we still have the 24-hour service where if a student calls the number, that a counselor will go to them wherever they are. Because it's exactly that thing. I can't have that a student, for example, if a student is actively suicidal, they send a message and then it's just a tool that responds, because then we need immediate response. But I'm also mindful, and I always say to people that I think at Stellenbosch University, I know we're also quite privileged in terms of what we have in terms of sometimes even to the basis of capacity. But it is around alongside the kind of AI tools that we use. What is it that we put in place in terms of that kind of that where there's human connection to that? Because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of self-help tools. Because even in our survey, we found that at the time there wasn't really one that we could actually say this is the one that we use, because it needed to be developed further in order even for the basic kind of things that we wanted to do, and that was about 3 years ago. So I think it's still a field that's extremely new, and I think because also technology changes so quickly. And I think Hanlé said it, I also think in terms of we're also behind in the terms of developing, because you find people in the IT and app space that they develop things quicker than and they don't come to mental health professionals asking for input a lot of times on those kind of things. That becomes also a difficulty within the space. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your wonderful inputs, all the panelists, and thank you so much, Dr. Davids, for this input. And so now I want us to then open this session to the audience, and I'll go into the chat box just to look at the questions that our audience are asking in order for us to engage with these questions from the audience. So the first question that I would want to look at is the question that Bontley has asked, and she's asking all the panelists, and perhaps one person can respond to this question. So the question is, ever since the era of AI or your own developments, and I believe that she's talking about they are talking about the developments that we have in the various institutions. So ever since these developments in our respective institution, has the case of mental health, like suicide or just overall mental well-being, decreased? And also has the person and also has the in-person support, that is counseling session, decreased or not? So basically what she's asking is, has there been a decrease in terms of mental issues such as suicide and overall mental being, and has also the in-person session decreased as well? Anyone can respond to this.
Well, I'll come in first. As one, the sessions hasn't decreased. the mental health concerns also hasn't decreased. I think there's an increase in, because remember, if you start using AI tools and things, it also, you know, opens the door for students to start acknowledging what they're receiving. So there's actually an increase in the help-seeking behavior, which is a wonderful thing. But then it also brings, obviously, the issue to, you know, with capacity and things. What at Stellenbosch, what I found that we needed to add, for example, we have actually 24-hour crisis service in person during their walk-in service for crisis on a daily basis. Outside the psychologists and counselors and social workers who are looking at the therapeutic engagement. And on top of that, the after hours, weekends, public holidays through a particular service where counselors in person or telephonic counseling. So that made it where we had especially with your suicide risk, that we saw at Stellenbosch a decrease in, because it was the addition to the self-help tools that there was, and we picked up there's a lot of that, and therefore we had to augment the kind of service. But then it means that our student counseling centers has to then receive from the institutions the capacity to augment that services. And that sometimes is where the worry is, because depending on the institution and the situation within the institution, not all institutions have the ability to augment the services to the same degree.
And okay, yes.
At NMU, we haven't launched our chatbot yet, so I can't answer that question.
I think I will briefly just echo what Charlotte said, and I think it's exactly what Charlotte said. And what I think we need to remember is that the step care model that Charlotte and I think also Hanlé spoke about is exactly that. So we cannot definitively say that it's because of WISER we have no more waiting list. This is a problem we've been having for years, and over the last year and months we don't have a waiting list. But what we can say is introducing more levels of care and access to care is lessening the demand on the one-on-one requirement, and actually making sure that that the students that really need the one-on-one care is being seen to. On top of that, the WISER layer, there's also our dedicated SADC line, which is a 24-hour dedicated line for our institution only. And so through WISER, you also get channeled and referred to the line if there's certain markers that's being picked up in urgent need for talk therapy. And so at the same time, another layer through the CSSS offices has also been introduced, which is group therapy, and also compulsory group therapy if you enter through the door and going into a group before you even see. So you will see adding more layers to this ecosystem of care helps with the demand and lessening in demand, but making sure severe and serious cases, critical cases are seen to as well. Definitively, it's the AI that does it. I would never probably want to say that.
All right. Thank you. And I think I would need one of the panelists to answer this question from Martin. So Martin is interested in whether the phenomenon of students using general purpose LLMs out of the box, like Claude, your ChatGPT, and others, rather than dedicated psychological support bots, as sounding boards, companions, and increasingly counselors. Do we have any sense of the extent of this practice, and will some form of student education or guidance around this be wise?
Okay, I'll attempt, Ethan. So yes, I think there is a kind of using, because it also falls, I think, now on student counseling centers when we do, different kind of work sessions and workshops and things with students, where we actually always refer to it. I mean, what we have at Stellenbosch, for example, at the moment, because with our self-help app that we have internally developed, we those QR codes is everywhere in residences, lecture halls, all the places that students frequently, so that we rather get them to use that self-help app as opposed to some of the other kind of things, because then it is immediately where they can get the assistance. But it is something that we have to do quite a lot of education on, and that we do through when we even just speak about our services, with all first year students. It's one of the things that we add into that kind of thing to make sure that we guide our students, that they don't go to some of those kind of things. Also, attempt there's another question on the medication in terms of what's in. So it's a difficult one, because I think in general public, not only on students, we see even university staff members go search these kind of things around what are the kind of medications that one can use for A, B, or C. Again, we do that, and I think across campuses in this country, we start doing that and adding it into the psychoeducational work that we do. Thank you.
All right. And this question now is going to go to you, Naythan. Thank you so much, Dr. Davids. So Darren is very, very interested in finding out whether there is LLMs dependency. So some of the literature points to users of LLMs developing a dependency on these tools. So how is this mitigated in the context of WISER? Are students overly dependent on these tools? I guess that is where the question is going to. And what are the potential negative externality of human connection that are being detrimental or affected based on this dependence? So in like a minute, can you just...
Absolutely. I think this is where it's very important to adopt a tool that is therapist informed and then also uses mental health or psychological theory to actually build in. So why is it not LLM informed at the moment? It is therapist informed. But what happens with LLMs, and this is one of the motivations of why there's a dependency, is because of AI delusions. And we've heard of the delusion that happens with AI, is that AI feeds you what you feed it, and it will always tell you exactly what you want to hear. Now, when you use a responsible mental health platform, and there's quite a few out there, that is immediately built in to prevent it, and then escalation takes place when there's dangers, when there's repetitive talk, when multiple the behavioral things happen within the user. They get escalated or to a one-on-one session, to a different tool, to be using different things, but not fed the same information over and over, because that's how the delusions happen, but that's how the dependence happens. We get dependent on hearing things that we want to hear, and having uncountable conversations is possibly sometimes part, and it is part of things like WISER is one of them. But having an uncomfortable question is conversations around you repeating yourself, or it seems like this, you're avoiding this, or etc. But what happens with LLMs, and I think we've all tried, it's like, that looks excellent, you should really go ahead with that. And it will come back to us again and say, oh, what a great idea. Where the generative AI tool doesn't necessarily do that because it's built on psychological theory and concepts.
All right. Let me just keep you there, Naythan. And I think this question is actually best suited given your experiences with WISER. So Okukle is asking, what happens if a student harms themselves on the advice of, let's say, a chatbot, or in this case, let's say WISER? What are the legal quadrants that exist towards inconvenient liabilities in these kinds of LLMs or chatbots, or in your case, WISER?
That's a brilliant question. I think, firstly, the WISER is liable for that, and that is in our service level agreement with that as well. And if there's proof that WISER has motivated the student to, in any way, cause any harm towards themselves, they will be liable for it. But I think before any of that, we've done our homework for that reason. We've got so many cases around 17-year-old. There was a student, a 17-year-old, I think a year ago, that also was encouraged by a large language model generative AI tool. And that is the danger of using a Claude ChatGPT, because they take from articles and research, and they, out of context, put information together and give advice. you know. And so when we use a CBT or psychologically informed tool, and we can never prescribe any large language model to students in which also they can't diagnose. I need you just to know this, that no AI tool should ever be able to diagnose if you did not see a client physically. And so WISER doesn't even do that, and so many other tools. I also don't want to ever seem biased because I'm doing comparative studies with many other tools, and it might even mean in a year or two we move to a different tool, because there are tools that are greatly informed by psychological theory. But what we need to know is when you do your service level agreements, when you do talk things around data safety, data sovereignty, data infrastructure, where data lies, and the compliance, these takes at least 8 months to 12 months a year to have these conversations. And your legal department, institutional executive must be involved in these conversations.
Maybe I can just pitch in there. When we did our WISER pilot, we had the same experience. So a reputable company will be able to submit to what the university legal department prescribes, also your IGAP or your, a data management system. And also, I think it just brings us back to, again, being the psychologist or the psychiatrist or the practitioner. You will have to adapt your consent forms to inform students that artificial intelligence is part of the service offering within your unit, and that people must inform themselves of the various protocols around that. So again, that whole subject of the literacy around AI tools is important for our clients.
Thank you so much, Naythan, and thank you so much, Hanlé. And maybe I could just direct this question to Dalray. So Teresa, and I think the reason why I'm directing this question to you is because of the skepticism which I sense from your presentation from the perspective of Nelson Mandela University in terms of adopting chatbots or Gen AI for this. So Teresa is asking, so can the data harvested through psychometric instruments not help with meaning forming within this instrument? So for example, when developing evaluative tool for depression within adolescents, we need to capture different nuances of the concept. So with these different nuances, can it not then form some kind of meaning in terms of within the instrument itself?
I think that AI can be trained to responsibly use screening measures. I wouldn't like to see us putting psychometric diagnostic tools in the hands of an AI. You need a human to interpret, as Naythan was trying to explain, the context. They understand the person's general psychological profile, the presenting issues, whether there's any incidents, any pathology, personality issues, for example. There's quite a bit that goes up in here in a psychologist's mind that a client will not see, and that I don't think you can necessarily train an AI in fully. But there is data that can be collected that will be meaningful for a user of a chatbot in terms of screening. What is my present level of anxiety? Is it better today? Is it worse today? My energy levels, my mood. But a psychometric instrument is something that is going to be used as part of a professional's judgment in diagnosing certain things, and that I would steer clear of at the present time, given what I know at the moment. I'm still learning, but I would be hesitant to go that route.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dalray. And I want to bring back Dr. Davis, because I think this question from Breed is best captured in your presentation, because you then look at issues such as social justice and the socio-economic issues that could be triggering some kind of psychological or mental health issues. And Breed is asking, if we had full employment, that is, if we had people that are working after hours to respond to the concerns of students 24/7, especially given the unemployment crisis we have in South Africa. So if we have employment issues resolved, would we have been thinking or entertaining the idea of bringing in chatbots to help us navigate this terrain, or to provide us with initial diagnosis? What are your thoughts on this? What if a person, so she continues the question, what if a person or people mail emails so that none will go unanswered? Are we not concerned about dwindling employment overall and not just care? So at this point, we're dwindling employment instead of providing care. So care is not the prerequisite that we want to advance. So what are your thoughts?
It's a very difficult thing to answer. Should people work, for example, after hours during the night? I think at Stellenbosch many years ago that was the case, and even students in training was used for those kind of things. Students, social work and psychology students and things that was in the final years. Within, with obviously supervisors, very strong supervision with regards to that. But it's extremely difficult, because remember what people don't sometimes get. For example, if somebody is actively suicidal, it's not actually a psychologist that must, it becomes a medical issue. And because a student needs to be hospitalized. So it's not a psychologist that you need, or a counselor. You need actually something else, because you need to hospitalize somebody. That's why even in the private sector, you will not get psychologists and psychiatrists working, during the night. It would be your medical professionals, because that's the kind of thing that comes up. The issue around, remember, higher education on economically, I mean, all higher education institutions are struggling financially. And simply, if we just look at cut of subsidies too, so the support services within institutions is not the first priority. A lot of times for institutions, it's about the academic and that part of the kind of equation as well. But that's why I think, but also the notion that we have that, just employ more psychologists and the kind of things will be worked out. The idea that it's only individual therapy that's the answer is also wrong, because there's wonderful kind of group and even that one have tried, and that is actually working quite well. And that's why I think in the research we're speaking about the step care approach, because even peer-to-peer help, and we've seen, for example, in the HIV/AIDS field years ago with the peer counselors and things that worked wonders. The institutions now have peer support, but also mentoring processes with peer help within different resident spaces, for example, that works wonders within the moment. That can also activate other resources and help within the kind of institutions. So, and it also differs from institutions. So I can, clearly just speak about the Stellenbosch, because we have the after-hour support in person for people as well. And the students are all aware of it. The numbers are all at the back of their student cards, and they phone a number and they can get help immediately. So it depends what it is, but it doesn't help us. What's not going to help is just say, okay, we must employ just many more psychologists and we'll sort out the problem. It's not necessarily the case. I do get that there are a lot of the institutions that's undercapacitated to do it, and sometimes we only have 2 psychologists, which is far too little to be able to deal with the kind of things. And not all students that also deal with mental health, difficulties. I'm not talking about where there's a clear diagnosis, but all of us go through some forms of depression and anxiety. That's not that we can't diagnose as depression and anxiety, that we need somebody to talk to, but that can be a friend. It doesn't have to be a mental health professional. We've also pathologized a lot of the kind of things that's normal, life cycle things and adjustments that we go through. We've also pathologized some of those kind of things. Therefore, the need feels more so. And if I look at it, the spotlight is so high on the mental health. For example, in the fees must fall, the list of demands, mental health is one of the demands in it. But I'm always saying that is the mental health issues coming from financial difficulties and food insecurity and those kind of, which is social justice issues that we have to deal, that develops into mental health issues. And sometimes that's where I think we should also put some resources in that it won't necessarily lead, because eventually it leads to mental health. I now can't concentrate because I'm hungry, and I have a depressed mood because I'm hungry, So, and if we give the student food, they concentrate and their mood and the mood lift. So there's a lot of those kind of things that one also have to address, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Davids. And maybe Hanlé, you could come in here. But before you do that, for the panelists, I'd like to ask that for those of us that are not responding to questions right now, you could just go to the Q&A session and see if you can respond to some of the questions if it falls within part of your presentation. But Hanlé, I just wanted to ask, and I think Flalane is asking this question, and it also moves from what Dr. Davids has just said. So Flalane wants to know, how can the research and discussions that have been presented here today, and this is drawing from your experience as well at UP, how can we leverage it to advocate for an increased investment in the training and development of more mental health professionals? Because as most students will have access to these tools, it means that most students will require more professionals to adequately handle the influx. So how do you think we can leverage on the conversations that we're having today?
Well, in my experience, data talks to people who make these decisions. It is, as Charles indicated, a constrained environment when it comes to money. And you have to make sure that your arguments and your motivations are based on data. So if we can show that we have the need for extra professionals, that the capacity has been reached, then I think this would not be an argument that can be ignored. However, as the people have also said here today, a lot of the time, the super specialized practitioners are not the ones that can make a dent necessarily. I don't know if there are any epidemiological professionals in the room, but are we saying that, the 20% or 17% of people that are going to have mental health disorders, has that increased? Or are people more aware? Are people lacking skills? Are people isolated? Are people disconnected? Are people anxious because they are, perhaps here for the first time? Are people, as Charles says, hungry? So the root cause analysis, I think, is very important before we start motivating for more mental health professionals in a super specialized field. We have used our peer volunteers and our registered counselors to extremely good effect in the unit, that people walk out of here having their needs met. And those access points are easy to negotiate rather than to wait for an appointment with a clinical psychologist. However, having said that, if that is the need, you must be able to jump the steps and get the access where you need it, So it all is about matching the students or the client's needs with the specific type of care. So if you can match that, then you are approaching a better system, I think, than having a very strict one-on-one type of system. Don't know if that answers your question, but I think it is really about thinking about the economics of the thing in in a bit of a systematic way.
Thank you so much, Hanlé. And I want to then bring Naythan into this conversation, especially from an anonymous participant who wants to know, and this is drawing from your from the Wiser case. Given that empathy, so the question is, given that empathy is essential to almost any psychological intervention, how do we understand empathy in the context of chatbot? So in this case, in the context of Wiser, how do we understand empathy? How do students at the University of Western Cape, how do they understand empathy in the context of using Wiser? Do these students experience, or do users experience these tools as empathetic? And how is empathy operationalized in the context of a board? And I want you to draw it from the Wiser experience at UWC. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Edmund. I think as in my last slide, I noted that definitely this was one of the limitations, and this was one of the key findings from the qualitative interviews that we had, is the robotic sense that they get through AI chatbots and in general texting or communicating or seeking mental health support from any AI chatbot. But in this is the case of Wiser, is that there might be repetition, and if the moment if we even talk to each other and I repeat myself, it seems like we're going nowhere with this conversation. And so that made them very despondent, and that shows the lack of empathy. And I don't ever think that a chatbot can mimic that level of empathy the human or therapist can ever have. It can acknowledge emotion, and it can maybe help you articulate the emotion, but it can't necessarily empathetically make you understand the emotion and help and put themselves in your shoes and share that kind of empathy experience. That was one of the limitations I think the research is really highlighting through the Wiser case, especially, is that robotic sense creates that resistance towards the user coming back at times, because they feel that is where empathy, is needed.
And thank you for that. And perhaps I'm going to bring Dalray now to this. I think I would like Dalray and Dr. Davids to answer this particular question, or to chip in here. The focus in our conversation today has been on students, but also we saw that from the data that has been presented, especially from Charles and from Naythan, that we're also encouraging our staff members at various higher institutions to also adopt AI to help them with their for initial diagnosis as well. So the question that Hanlé is now asking is, so he's saying that it seems that AI brought a lot of more stress and job dissatisfaction for academics. And in your line of work as a counselor at the University of Stellenbosch, and are you experiencing these academics, especially lecturers, also discussing this with you as well? And how do you support lecturers to support students in your context?
Yeah, so absolutely, I think it is it's about using AI, but also even how mental health plays out in the classroom, etc. So, I mean, what we've done is to, through kind of student success initiatives, is to actually, some of our registered counselors are placed within faculties where they sit, and we do also specific, module or program kind of things that's part of, part of the lecture series where we go in and have those kind of conversations with it. And we do quite a bit of the staff training so that they can understand that, so that we assist our academic staff also within the classroom. And because remember, they employed to be the lecturer of a module, not to deal with the other related things to it. And therefore, the kind of that we've now in the last year and a half actually have registered counselors that's also allocated to faculties and even sit within a faculty for a few days per week and then do work sessions or there's immediate access to them within that space. But it is quite useful to work those kind of things in, because I mean, we've done even a lot of work with our staff to deal with students, even on the, if we're speaking about neurodiversity, how do we deal with that within the classroom space and etc. But also in terms of students using the different kind of things through our academic, we've got a unit for academic counseling and development that also supports the learning and teaching staff around assistance with those kind of things in terms of work sessions. So there's a lot of collaboration between with us and the academic staff and within the faculty space through the learning and teaching committees within the faculty.
It's very similar at Nelson Mandela University. We also have counselors assigned to specific faculties as faculty-linked counselors. So they go to the teaching and learning committee meetings or other faculty meetings that they're invited to share what we see as trends, what are the main presenting issues that the students from their faculty are coming to us about, and they can share with us their concerns about student mental health. And from there, we can forge collaborations in terms of group sessions offered or talks in classes. Or just recently, one of the faculties asked for a pamphlet to give to their lecturers on how to deal with students who come to them who are upset, who have mental health issues. How should they respond, because they're very nervous sometimes. So we have to walk alongside with the lecturers. We take our advocacy role for student mental health very seriously. Where staff have issues themselves, though, we refer them to our Wellness at Work program. So there's a different office that will support staff with their own mental health, and we refer them to that. Thank you.
All right. I want to just abuse my role as the facilitator now to ask a very important question, which came up from Dr. Davids' presentation, and I'll also want Hanlé to jump in here as well. So, Charles, you made mention that AI can help in facilitating at least some kind of initial. Now, this is my paraphrase, initial diagnosis, especially in cases where it involves things such as stigma and the rest. So let us have a scenario where students are unable to meet a therapist or a counselor at the university for the sake of being afraid of being stigmatized. But at the same time, they now depend on an AI chatbot that has been provided by the university. But this university chatbot still directs them to the therapist. So my question is, in instances like that, does the AI really solve the problem if we're still going to revert back to the problem that the student is already facing, which is stigma?
Can I just say just the correction? I didn't say that it's to do a diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's to opening a door.
Okay.
Because what you find, because remember, AI can assist a lot with self-help material around, the basic, I'm struggling to I've got a little bit of anxiety doing this or the other. Try this, try that. This is, and then, but this is not helping. I suggest you go speak to somebody. And that would be the kind of interaction that I think I was referring to. So, because remember, even if it's a stigma, because a lot of the stigma is about, should I even speak to somebody about that? And when those kind of self-help material, because they in that instance, the student gets used to that. It's okay to talk about this. I've now learned how to phrase even the thing that I struggle with. Because a lot of times students struggle to even to express what it is that they're going through. And that is what I think it's quite helpful. And then still have the human interaction, where it's through peer helping, whether it's through a counselor, a social worker, a psychologist, or whatever, depending, as I'm saying, the step care approach. Sometimes it just has to be mentoring and coaching. Because not all people going through mental health difficulties need to see a psychologist as well, because that's, I mean, it's the ones who gets a final diagnosis needs to be treated with a psychologist. Sometimes it can be even through mentoring or coaching, or you know, with a registered counselor can also assist in that regard. Thanks, Edmund.
Thanks. I think I agree completely with Charles. It is a matter of destigmatize, but also not amplify. You know, I think you must use the right tool for the right job. And you can't only have a conversational agent. You can't only have a counseling or a clinical psychologist. You can't only have group therapy. So it really is our trick in this sector is to try and find people to get people to find something where they fit. But you can't only have 3 products that you offer. You must have a variety of entry points, if you will, doors that people can walk through. If that is a faculty house member, that is what we call them here, transformation officer in a faculty house. If that is someone in residence, if that is someone in your here in the peer volunteer room where you can chat to someone that looks friendly and wears a t-shirt that says, I'm here to help, you know. So you must really try and bring people into the fold with a wide variety of services. And then your framework on campus is so important to destigmatize. If your whole university approach, I think people must be aware, obviously, of the whole university approach, where the way you write an email to a student can be, it can be demeaning or it can be supportive if you're a lecturer. The way that we greet someone in front. So the whole idea of it's okay to ask a question, it's okay to not know, it's okay to be unsure, okay to be anxious. Make it just accessible for people to feel at home. I think that is the beginning of destigmatization. It's not really about, a fancy campaign. It is about, we can talk about anything. Anything goes.
All right. Thank you so much for this interesting conversation that we've had today. I believe that our panelists have really diagnosed this problem, and drawing from their own wealth of experiences and the challenges that they face from their various institutions, they have tried to show us what the landscape is and some of the remedies that have been put in place. So we began with Dr. Davids' presentation, who pointed out the mental health crisis, not the mental health crisis rather, but the landscape of this issue. And he frames it as a social justice issue, where when we're talking about mental health, we want to also look at the compounding social issues that contribute to these overwhelming cases that we are having at our universities. And we also then move to Dr. Dalray's presentation, who looks at some of the skepticism that they're having at Nelson Mandela University. And here, her presentation actually focuses on the impacts of AI, but also what AI can do and AI cannot do. And then we move to Hanlé's presentation, who led us through a story from her UP experiences, where they've tried to use Wiser and they've tried to use Scooby, and now they're also sourcing for culturally relevant technologies or chatbots or generative AI that can help in this regard. And then we also looked at Naythan's presentation that focuses on the application of Wiser into the University of Western Cape and some of the results that they're having. And something very interesting that he says here is that some students have reported that these AI tools has helped them, or Wiser particularly, has helped them in framing or in understanding what they currently face and naming it. And I think that is also one of the contributing factors of AI that will one of the important aspects of AI, especially in higher education, when we want to use it for clinical purposes. So again, the question is not whether AI should replace the kind of care that we receive from practitioners, from the counselors that have been employed by our institutions of higher learning. But the question is, what role can AI play, especially in under-resourced environment? And although we did not engage so much with some of the under-resourced environment, like universities in Limpopo and others, but this conversation does not just end here. It is an opening for us to carry on this conversation. It is an opening for us to go back to our various institutions and then engage in profitable ways that we can explore whether AI and generative AI, most importantly, can help in our overwhelming cases that we have at our various institutions, or whether we want to change the conversation altogether. And so I thank everyone for participating in this AI Lekgotla. I thank you for bringing such amazing questions that you presented here at the chatbot. I thank the panelists for trying to address some of the questions that you have presented here. And I'm also sorry that I may have missed some of the questions on the chatbot and the Q&A. And if I've done that, I apologize for that. But should you have any questions, I think that you can also contact the panelists and send them an email just to find out some of the things that we may have missed in terms of this presentation. So I thank you for participating in this conversation. And like I said, we must continue to keep this conversation going. And now I hand it over to Susan, who's going to give us a vote of thanks. Susan?
Thank you, Ed. Sorry, I'm just battling here with, there you go. Now I'm visible. Thank you so much. Colleagues, you would agree that this has been a very insightful conversation. It was quite a difficult one to put together and to understand whether we are having the right slant to it and applying the right lenses. But first of all, I would really like to thank our speakers for so eloquently contextualizing this problem and the issues we are dealing with through AI and what it should be doing. I think how we've organized it and how it flowed into each other really provided us with good context. Thank you very much for that. Ed, a very big thank you to you for directing the questions and taking us through the motions. It's certainly not always an easy job to do, but certainly it has been great. So thank you very much to each and every one of you for your preparations and giving so much thought to this aspect. And I think what's very important for me, and that's just the one-liner I really want to give, that was useful through all the discussions here this afternoon, and that is that AI should extend and provide a bridge across the ecosystem of care. And I thought that was great. And then adding another bit to it is to never replace the humanity as its center, and that we should in the offices of these caretakers, that we should assist these agentic AIs with how they should or could perhaps answer and direct in their inquiry, is to be relevant. And it's relevant not only in our African context, but also in terms of our cultures, our language, the work that we do at the universities, the challenges are being faced. And I think there's a responsibility also for humans to give back and to make sure that those instruments and tools actually assist us. So colleagues, thank you very, very much for this absolutely delightful presentation this afternoon. It has been really insightful and absolutely great. And then also to my team and the planning committee, once again, my sincere thanks. And we hope to see you at our next Lekgotla. And watch the news, it will follow soon. Thank you very much once again, Ed, for eloquently taking us through this afternoon's work. Thank you so much. All right, then we can say goodbye and